I think social media, in terms of corporate communication, is a revolution. I came to this reluctantly as someone who is, in my 50s and had no interest in any of the tools or the ways of thinking about this, other than that it's another distribution tool for executives to use as part of their corporate communication package. And over the last 7 months, as I was writing my book, which is coming out next summer, I have to say that I've completely changed my mind. It is a complete revolution in terms of what companies can do, and I think there are several things to think about. One is the opportunity to truly become two-way has become a reality as a result of digital strategies and approaches to communications. I think before you had feedback coming from a variety of sources that you would have to sift through and deal with, but now it's in real time. And it forces companies to think about two-way strategies, about bottom-up communication in ways that are just totally different from before. I think the greatest example that I came across happening at two companies, first at IBM with their jam sessions, and these were repeated at a company that I did some work for, which is Philips in the Netherlands. And the idea is to get feedback from employees on specific topics, in an asynchronous session that goes on with senior executives over a period of time. And it is remarkable how many of those ideas lead directly to innovation. Similarly, Dell, has a whole website based around this notion of idea generation. These are things that we just couldn't have done before. The idea of being able to Twitter and be able to respond to people immediately in terms of what you're doing, rather than waiting to write a long blog or to plan a long memo if we go back to the old days. It's just completely transformed what we're doing. I think the unfortunate truth is that senior executives, people who are my age and older, have such a lack of understanding in this area that their ability to really accept the phenomenon is very, very slow. I had to really have someone who's a mentor to me from the new generation, which is why Courtney Barnes, who is a fabulous writer and researcher on her own right and editor of PR News, has worked on the book with me. And I think that's an idea that was generated at the same great companies. I mean, where people would have a young person who would be sort of a mentor to them about technology. I think that's what you have to do. I think trying to approach this from the perspective of, oh yeah, I know, I have kids, they're on Facebook, is not the way to go. You have to have someone who really has facility with the various tools and understands the mentality of the people who are approaching you. And I also think you have to be aware of and be thinking about what happens when you get out there yourself. I mean, I just got on Twitter very recently. Even though I was writing about it, I didn't want to get in until a few months before the book is coming out, and now have 350, 400 people following me. And there's an enormous amount of responsibility there that you have to follow up on things. People are writing me all day long now about stuff. Even in the meeting yesterday, I was tweeting about things. And I think those are things that people who are busy and senior executives don't really want to get involved in still. They still believe that they can avoid that. And to a certain extent, you can. But I think if you really want to think about where the future of communications is going and where we are all going to have to end up, this is not merely a new distribution tool, just in the same way that the computer is not a typewriter.